Hello everyone, welcome to Pauline's place, and I'm here at our dining room table. It's not for a meal, I'm just wanting to demonstrate something to you. This is really stacked up, ready to be put away, because recently we had a meal with quite a few people, and it would always be that we have a candle, make it look as best as we could. Hospitality is so important, and it's as if the generous spirit of humanity is shared when there's warm and hospitality where people can eat and talk. Last night, for a very special conversation, I met with a good friend. Stan and I both went, and we were at a lovely motel right in the centre of Auckland. There's lots of roadworks going on in Auckland, but this was a little bit removed from the roadworks, but still in the centre of the city. And the wonderful dining area could have catered for maybe 60 people, just comfortably, and there were other places you could sit and have a drink and so forth. We were the only guests, and there were 3 people attending our table. After some time, another person came and she ordered a dessert, but that was it. And we felt we couldn't really leave, but eat in a more unhurried manner and let these people have someone to serve. And I think that's happening in many places. So much effort, so much preparation, just all ready for lots and lots of people to eat out, but there's just not the people. That motel would have had busloads of people, perhaps on a tour of New Zealand, and they would stay in that motel and enjoy the hospitality. We were treated like princes and princesses, really. And there we were, 2 Australians, 1 American, 1 African, 1 Indonesian, just having a meal. And some of those people catered for our meal. And we didn't meet any others, but that was just a small portion of the world. And it was so beautiful, but not enough people to enjoy it. And this is something that's facing so many of you during COVID. Well, I'll tell you outside the hotel something really sad, a different kind of sadness. There was about 8 people and 2 men on the floor, on the concrete of the footpath, really fighting hard. And a woman with a baby saying, please stop, and then another man standing by, you should stop, but they weren't going to stop. And our friend intervened, got them to break it up, and then another friend of the people fighting came. They didn't want to break up that fight. They wanted to keep going until probably they were forced to. So those 2 things made me think about our city. This wasn't in a back alley. It was right there in front of this very lovely motel. And you got the feeling that the people were quite desperate, the ones fighting. What I learned from the person who looked after that, the hosting part in our meal, he was just generous with his hospitality and warmth and said, I'm so glad you've come. You've encouraged me, and I have to keep believing that this time will pass. And then my thinking now goes to the people fighting out on the pavement. They didn't look well cared for, really. I don't mean their clothing, I just mean the general kind of stance of them, well cared for by society or perhaps by life. And so there in one small part of Auckland, a big motel wanting so much to welcome people and give them very good hospitality, and there's nobody. And I think the locals don't come as much because many of them have lost their jobs. And then outside the hotel, a group of people, perhaps disillusioned, angry, perhaps no future plans, or the future plans they had weren't there. Now I just share that with you because I think it's just like a little symbol of what's happening in our world. And what will win? Well, I'll tell you about Abraham. His attitude won. That's his job, to be the host with the most at that motel. But I think it was more than that. He'd come from across the world to make his life in New Zealand, and he was committing everything. The calendar today was kind of very sweet for me, a little bit difficult. It says love just wins in the end. It's just so strong that nothing can beat it. And I'll read it to you. It says, love is a flower that grows in any soil, works its sweet miracles, and it's undaunted by autumn frost or winter snow. It's fair and fragrant all the year, and it blesses those who give and those who receive. Now that's a big picture statement. It's not about the minute or the instant. You know people, don't you, who are really worried about their future. Many are like Abraham, preparing and no one to host, no one to feed in a beautiful way. And you know people like the ones we found on the pavement outside. They're bitter and disillusioned. But love is still the strongest force. And somehow that attitude that Abraham had is the one we can all find. I don't want to just talk to you. I want to see if there is something in the way you think and act that could just help another person. I try to commit to that every day. It's not easy. And sometimes we feel powerless. We have today, and we pray that tomorrow will be hopeful and productive. And we're all a part of COVID. I wanted to share with you two experiences just in one small part of the world, and it's happening everywhere. We're a part of it. Join with me, won't you? Think about the people who are near us that we meet. God be with you. God give you strength. God help you to be positive. And may that love that you have be like a flower that blooms all year round.